All right, so it's 9:12 in the morning now. So you guys saw my actual real morning routine already. I've got all that done in just a matter of an hour or so. But it's 9:12 in the morning. We got about 15 minutes until the market open, and really at this point it's just waiting for the market to actually open up. It's a little bit of a tricky day today because we've seen the market already drop 4% overnight, which is absolutely insane. It's absurd. Trump was speaking on tariffs yesterday, and that clearly made the markets go down significantly. So we're trading at some certain key levels I'm going to be looking to take some positions off of. So far, I've only traded twice this week. I've only traded Tuesday and Wednesday because I was traveling on Monday. So I'm probably going to keep the risk a little bit lower than usual today and just focus on higher quality setups versus just kind of taking a setup that may just like be a regular setup instead of a A+ setup. So I really got my entire workspace already plotted out already, and it's really just a waiting game at this point. So we'll see what trades that we could. When you look at my April, how April's going so far. So I have 2 trading days. For Tuesday, I made $15,000, which I ended up losing the first trade of like $5,000, and I made back 4R, which made me back 15,000 some change. And then yesterday I lost $6,000, and then I made back $36,000, which leaving me in net profit of $30,000. So April's going really well so far. So I'm gonna try and keep up this good momentum. Today's risk, I'm gonna cap myself out probably just around a $15,000 loss, if anything, which is gonna be half, and that's gonna be including 2 trades. So I'm really only gonna risk a max of $7,500 a trade. If I lose 2 trades in a row, then I'm gonna lose 14,000, 15,000, worst case scenario, still leaving me profitable on the week and giving me more opportunity to make back that money on Friday. So that's kind of how I'm gonna move forward with the rest of today. I'm gonna try and find really good opportunities where I can really execute, have a really tight stop loss. Depending on the setup, on average, I'll probably have like around a 3-point stop, 3.5-point stop. But really the goal for today is just to try and probably get base hits because the market has been a little bit crazy since yesterday, and really just go for like a 2R or a 3R multiple. I'm not gonna try to shoot for like a 6R multiple like yesterday. Although if we do see like a lot of imbalance today, then who knows? Every trading day is gonna be different. But that's my risk plan for the day. So I'm already up 45,000. I really don't want to give back more than like $15,000 in 2 trades. So that's gonna be the risk plan for the day, and we'll see what opportunities we could get. If you look at the very low of day, we have large trapped sellers. Down there, we had no reward for that selling. So I decided to just, even though I'm a first buyer in this situation, I just decided to give the longs a try because I'm risking like half R on this trade. So if I take a loss, it's not a loss I'm gonna lose sleep about. We got big buying coming in here too, but really it comes down to looking for a reward for these buyers.
I don't know. Still got the whack, no safety. Lauren, Stacy, Mad Mix, Brazy, who dip up niggas daily. Should I cuff Miss Banks? Give her babies. Maybe 9 boys, crazy.
All right, guys, so the trading day is over. I did end up taking 2 trades, which I decided to call it a day from that point, just simply because, again, the market was a little bit choppy. Didn't really see too many great setups. And what you guys will see also is price was literally 1 point away from my TP. I really ended up the day break even. So you guys can see my month of April so far. Made 15,000 on Monday, made 30,000 yesterday, and then today I lost $860. Again, like I started off the morning losing 6K, which is just around 1R, and I ended up taking another position, which I took a bounce off of the 5480s, looking for price to push back up into the psychological round number at 5,500, where we had sellers resting, but price just barely got there. We literally got to 54.99. So we were literally 1 point away from actually getting to 5,500, where I would have made like $25,000, but price ended up coming back, hitting my trailing stop loss at $6,000-ish gain, leaving me at a negative of $860 for the day, which is fine. There's gonna be days where you're not winning all the time. It's normal, it's part of trading. I had 2 good trades, 1 good loss, and then 1 good break. Well, it wasn't a good break-even trade. I actually made money on that trade, but it was a 1R trade because I got my trailing stop loss hit, and I would have made like $26,000. So I'm not sure, maybe that's like 4R around there. So, which actually on my second position, I was really only risking like $4,500. I made a little bit over 1.4R, which, you know what, it's still a pretty good solid trading day. So right now, to wrap up the day, I gotta do my post-market journal, my post-market review. Although the market is still moving, you can see even later on throughout the day, we pulled back a little bit steeper to the 54, 55s, but then we came back to try and reclaim these 5500s, which now we're starting to see some sellers step in here at the 5500s. But I have a meeting right now with a coder, a developer, on my own custom Sierra charts footprint chart. So if you guys look at this footprint chart specifically, this is not my footprint chart. I had a custom footprint chart made for me because Sierra charts is such an old platform and software to use. It's really difficult to set all of this up. So I had gotten in contact with somebody who he's basically known for creating Sierra charts, footprint chart templates, and just templates for everything. If you guys want me to leave his contact info, drop a comment for those of you guys that are using Sierra charts so you guys can hit him up and do a private consultation and get your own custom chart book. But I'm gonna hop on that meeting right now and I'll show you guys the chart book and explain to you what is on my chart book after the meeting.
Yo, run up, you might get chef. Yo, run up the right and left. I don't know. When they ask in the interview room, I don't know.
So I just finished the meeting, literally like an hour and 10 minutes long. I'm trying to squeeze a quick lunch in because I have 2 one-on-one calls with students right now, which is going to be roughly like an hour long, which is not that bad. Then we can move on with the rest of my day, but this is kind of like the reality of being an entrepreneur.
Is he sending for me? I don't know. When I'm boy there, sell first week, I don't know. When they ask for the...
I just finished up 2 one-on-one calls with my students that we were basically just covering order flow and the different improvements that they need to make in their order flow trading. But like one thing that I told them that really would resonate with anybody that's getting into order flow or trading in general is trading is a game where you have to consistently show up to the markets, get the screen time and get the reps in and practice good trading by essentially following your plan, your system, and really not focusing on making money day after day, but focusing on making the right and logical decisions and the right trade execution as well. And what I mean by that is essentially you don't want to focus on your P&L. You want to focus on following your plan and having a consistent routine around the markets, including drinking Saratoga water every single morning. So, I mean, at this point, it's already 2 in the afternoon. I've had breakfast, I have lunch, I have to have a snack. So in that way I can get all of my macros in. But I'm about to hop on a meeting with some of our team at Leveled Up at this time because we've heard a lot of your guys' feedback and we're gonna be bringing a new challenge to Leveled Up traders, which is gonna be super dope. I don't wanna tell you guys too much about it yet, but you're gonna be able to copy trade up to 5 different accounts. We did get a lot of feedback from you guys from the Discord as to what new challenges you guys would like to see that we implement, and we're gonna be focusing on a 1-phase evaluation instead of a 2-phase evaluation. Maybe later on, I know a lot of people requested instant funding. We may bring that later on, but as of right now, there's nothing yet. But if you guys want to stay up to date with this, make sure you guys join the Discord, follow Leveled Up Traders on Instagram, and we'll keep you guys updated as to what this new challenge is going to be and when it's going to be released.
Get dead. Yo, run up, you might get chef. Yo, run up the right and left. I don't know. When it...
All right, guys, so I just got my chart book after I paid for it. I'm going to load it onto my Sierra charts here, which you can see that it's really not as simple as any other typical program. They're using like ATAS for order flows, a lot easier than Sierra charts, which is why I paid somebody to actually make my chart book and just gave him the data that I want and the data that I need. And he actually gave me some really good suggestions as well. Like I have chart books for equities, I have chart books for futures, I have chart books for metals as well. So I'm gonna open up my chart book here for the very first time. So I have one for ES and one for NQ as well. It's just a regular message log. So this is ES. This is going to be a longer range time frame. This is going to be more for like intraday when it comes to this chart book. So there's still some things I have to modify. As you guys can see, like I got to make these text dark here. There's the prices that I have to modify here. I can go back over here as well. This is going to be my main chart book folder. So right now, this is how it's currently set up. There's still some things that I'm going to change and I'm going to modify. So on the right hand side, first and foremost, which what all of this actually is basically the delta by price for the entire session. So if we look at this price specifically here, which is going to be 54.68 flat, you can see that on this specific price throughout the entire session, there was 980 contracts traded for a positive delta. Then over here, we have total volume as well for that price, which this makes it easier for me to visualize where the big sellers and the big buyers, or where sellers and buyers are trying to become really aggressive at areas of support and resistance or at certain key levels, compared to just looking at just delta by price over the candlestick. So it's easier to visualize a zone. It kind of gives me like a bird's eye view of the delta at certain zones, and then obviously the volume there as well, and who is the aggressor in that situation at those candlesticks, which at that specific support or resistance range or key level, whatever you want to call it, which is going to be specifically, it's going to give me a bird's eye view specifically so I can spot absorption easier, and really it's just to help me overlay the data as well. So then we have volume, then we have the price of the instrument, which is going to be ES, which ES right now is trading at 47.54.71. Then we could see the contracts that are there sitting on the bid. You can also see the contract sitting here on the ask, and then the orders that actually got executed here. I like this area too as well, so then I could see where we have like low volume nodes. So if we see like a really big breakout and price prints like a gap in fair value, or there's like an area of low volume, I typically want to see price come back into that area for a retest of that low volume node to see if buyers or sellers can continue to actually defend and support price higher if I'm looking to long in a situation. So that's going to be what I use the DOM for. Then over here on the actual chart itself, which keep in mind, I still have to change the actual candlesticks there. You can see that there's a lot of these bubbles here in the middle. Really what that's going to be is a big trades indicator, which I have to change the settings for. Right now, the big trades indicator currently is set at 20 contracts for a single position, which that's too low. Really, when I look for big trades, what I want to see is like 100 contracts traded for a single position. That's what would be considered like a big trader in my perspective. Because even for me, like if I were to just throw 30 contracts right now, which I can, it'll show up on the order book, and I don't want to see that. It's not something that I'm looking for. Again, I'm looking for more institutional activity. So I'm going to make all these levels extreme. Then also what I have here on the actual footprint chart, on the actual footprints themselves, on the right hand side, I have the delta. On the left hand side, I have volume. So delta by price, volume by price. And if you guys notice this right here as well, this is going to be where we see imbalances inside of the markets, which currently right now I have the imbalances set at 400%, meaning that it's a diagonal imbalance. So in the situation where we have the bid and the ask, in this situation here, we actually have a buying imbalance because 400% more contracts came in and hit the bid versus the ask at a higher price, which is analyzed diagonally. And then last but not least, I also have the cumulative delta above the cluster itself. I have session delta, and then I also have total volume for the cluster down there itself, which is easier for me to identify really if a certain move is getting exhausted or not. I also have a few other things here as well, which I could show you guys, like different areas where we have maybe an imbalance. Like over here we have an actual selling imbalance, which it's marked up for me, which sometimes it's really nice to actually see, but really I don't use that too much. And what I also have on my footprint charts as well is I have a delta divergence indicator showing us divergence in the delta. You guys can see that this candlestick gave me a positive delta of 157, but the candlestick closed bearish, which could be a really good sell signal, especially at resistance ranges here, because it shows us exhaustion and it also shows us absorption as well. So I do have a lot of things to modify, which, you know, it's good. It is what it is, but at the same time, it's like the ideal footprint chart for me because I have all the data that I need right then and there. So really now it's just coming down to modifying this, going over the review and going over the finalizing of my footprint chart. But that's going to be really it for right now. All right, guys, so it's honestly pretty late in the day. It's 3:15. I've got a good amount of work done. I would say it's like almost like a solid 4 or 5 hours that I've worked so far today, including trading. Gotta go to the gym now, because the thing about it is I don't enjoy going to the gym, to be honest, but I go not only to try and better my physical self, but it's a discipline thing where even if I can't physically show up to the gym, I still try and do some form of a workout at home, because it really just comes down to discipline. And sometimes, especially on really stressful days in the markets or in any of my businesses, really going to the gym, getting a pump and sweating is what relieves me a lot of that stress. And a lot of people turn to drugs, alcohol, which I'm not saying I don't drink. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't turn to those things to relieve stress. And what you're gonna find is if you could start off by just going to the gym every single day, even if you're not getting like really good workouts in, but you're getting a small pump, where you're slowly doing is you're training your subconscious to follow something and do it religiously. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna translate onto the markets as well. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm not, a robot. I'm not AI where I could show up to the gym every single day. There are some days where I don't wanna go and I'll end up just doing like a whatever workout. But the point is to go every single day, because if you aren't consistent with anything else in your life, how are you gonna expect to be like this perfectly consistent trader in the markets? Like, it's super unrealistic. So, I mean, bro, I had a mug on him real quick. Drive-by mug. Bro looked over like, okay. And then drive-by mog. That's part of about going to the gym too. I gotta practice my mewing. I gotta practice my mogs, just quick 4 sets of mogs so I can get that chin. Really, it just comes down to looks maxing, bro. Right? Even the Bugatti's gonna looks max today.
The positive cantle tilt on the Bugatti is crazy.
There's no pull like that, bro. But you know what, guys, too? I'm still on the fence about this. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I wanna put wheels on the Bugatti, which let me show you guys the options here. I really like polished wheels because they really pop, right? So we have these wheels to put on the Bugatti, which are so hard. We have these are Velos, right? We have these, which this is like the new style. For some reason, people are doing it. I think it looks better in person than in picture. And then there's also these as well, which it has like a red barrel on the front wheel. But K Fletch, one of my good friends and photographer that I've known for years, suggested we either do this, they're in black and then polished, or we do these, which these wheels are just like a big, like, they're just disrespectful, bro. That is wild. There's that version and there's this version as well, which they're both crazy. The only other person that I know that has actual wheels on the Bugatti is Yados, but he's not even in Miami anymore. He moved to, he moved to like another city. I don't want to say exactly where, but I don't think he's in Miami anymore. All right, so we're here now.
9 boys, crazy. Buy big that's me in Emerton. But I heard they got police intelligence. Told they don't chef cause he's irrelevant. Free throw, that's me in Element. My young boys who free, no evidence. But if on me, if he need anything, love beef adrenaline, and the sharp is melanin. Don't think I don't do fraud, that ain't in the trap with a square.